Katie Hobbs, Arizona's incumbent Secretary of State and Democratic gubernatorial candidate, held a campaign event on Sunday. During her remarks, she specifically called out her opponent, right-wing firebrand Kari Lake. Hobbs said Lake, quote, continues to spread conspiracy theories about the last election. Last year, Lake called for Hobbs to be, quote, locked up for not overturning President Joe Biden's win in the state. Recent polling shows Hobbs and Lake are in a tight race for governor.
And thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank especially the members of our Republicans for Katie Hobbs coalition for standing alongside me today. Not just today, but in this election. I bet many of you never thought that you'd be up here campaigning with a Democrat to be our next governor. But the support that we've seen from Republicans, independents, people who've never been involved in politics before is a testament to the threat that Kari Lake poses should she be our next governor. And we're not going to let that happen. Today, as we stand in Barry Goldwater Park, we're reminded that what we have in common is far greater than any of our political differences. We all want what's best for our state. We want a thriving economy. We want good schools for our kids. We want free and fair elections. And we want someone with a steady hand who can lead our state through its toughest challenges. I've spent my career working across the aisle to get the job done, and I have a track record to prove it. In the state legislature, I worked with both parties to expand health care to over 500,000 Arizonans. I worked across the aisle to find new ways to tackle the state's growing opioid epidemic. And I worked with the Republican governor to end the state's backlog of untested rape kits and put sexual assault offenders in jail. And when I became Secretary of State, there were more tough challenges to tackle. We modernized the office, fixed broken systems, battled misinformation, and navigated the pandemic for the voters of Arizona. And these changes led to the historically secure elections of 2020. And when people like Kari Lake denied the results of the election and did everything they could to overturn the will of the voters, we stood firm. And that's the kind of leadership that I'm going to bring to the governor's office. Real solutions, not conspiracy theories or finger pointing, but bringing people together to solve our most urgent problems. Because we all care about addressing issues like our water crisis, lowering costs, and securing our border. These aren't Democrat or Republican issues. They're Arizona issues, and they need Arizona solutions. And as you've heard, this race is not about Democrats or Republicans. It's a choice between sanity or chaos. It is not just the off-the-wall stuff that Kari Lake says. It's not just that she proudly accepts support from Nazis and spews dangerous conspiracy theories. It's what she would actually do as governor. She's 100% against women's reproductive rights with no exceptions for rape or incest, supporting a total abortion ban that was passed before Arizona even became a state and before women had the right to vote. And we know that she'll make sure to enforce this ban as governor. She's still calling to decertify the 2020 election, which is a concept. And she continues to spread conspiracy theories about the last election while refusing to say if she'll accept the results of this one. And more importantly, she's refused to say whether or not she'd certify the 2024 presidential election if she's governor. As if that weren't alarming enough, Kari Lake wants to put government cameras in our children's classrooms, which could lead to stalkers, big tech, and big brother spying on our children. She's said she would allow regular people to own rocket launchers. Kari Lake has called to dismantle the nation's top law enforcement agency, which would risk the security and safety of every Arizonan. She's called for Arizona to secede from the Union and usher in another civil war. And she's promised to violate the Constitution and declare an invasion at the southern border on day one of her administration, which would do nothing to secure our border, but would lead to untold levels of chaos for our state. Kari Lake is dangerous, too extreme, and out of touch with everyday Arizonans. So the question now is, do we want a governor whose entire platform boils down to being a sore loser, or a governor who will get the job done for Arizona? This election for governor might truly be the most important election in our state's history. I am not afraid of a tough fight. I'm battle tested,
Yeah, I'm going to open it up to a few questions. If you can just clarify whether or not your question is for Secretary Hobbs or one of the Republicans from the coalition, please.
I have a question for Secretary Hobbs.
Yeah.
Hi, Ray Storm with the Arizona Republic. This morning on Face the Nation, Kari Lake said that she couldn't agree with, or didn't agree with, or let's put it this way, she didn't say whether she agreed with Blake Masters saying that Biden won the presidency legitimately. Do you think she's trying to shift tone when you see her dodging questions like that now?
I think everything she says is a distraction from what she's already said many times, doubling down on these extreme positions about the 2020 election, about her position on abortion, about her position on the border, and the fact that she's not offering any real solutions for these issues. So, yeah, she's trying to distract from her extreme rhetoric and lack of any record and what she would actually do as governor. You guys are nuts over this.
Mayor Childs, can I ask you a quick question? You're in a person of position still. You're still mayor of Mesa. Seems as though when a Republican leader still in office speaks out or kind of goes against that norm of the Republican Party, they get censured. Are you concerned with that? Have you been approached or threatened by anybody for something like that?
No, I have been censored. I've been censored by 3 of the Republican legislative districts in the East Valley that are covering Mesa, and I'm perfectly fine with that. As I indicated earlier, I think we're in a situation now where you have to put the problems of our state above personal political ambition, above being concerned with supporting your loyalty to party. Those are all nice things, but they pale in comparison to the challenges that we face right now in the state. So I was happy to endorse Secretary Hobbs. Yes, I have been censured, and I'm fine with that. I'm in good company. Thank you.
A question for Secretary Hobbs. Right now in this election period, there are 3 main items that are being talked about: abortion, number 1, border control, and the economy. Which of those do you hold the highest level for going in as governor?
These are all issues that are priorities for me, and I would add to that water. Water is an issue that's on everyone's mind, and people are talking about like they never have before because we are at a point of crisis. And all of these things, where we are is because leaders haven't stepped up and taken the urgent action needed to avoid these issues. Education funding is another issue as well. These are all things that we have to tackle together, and I can't say which is the biggest priority. We have to take action on day one, and I'm ready to do that.
Follow up on that. At all 3 of those, is there room for compromise in any of them?
We have to be able to compromise, absolutely, because as I said, the issues we're facing aren't Democrat and Republican. They're Arizona issues, and they need Arizona solutions. And we're not all going to agree on the answers, but we have to work together to solve them.
Secretary Hobbs, by making a position today here at the Barry Goldwater Memorial Park, I guess I'm just wondering, this choice of this location, can you talk a little bit about the meaning of it, and also does it also speak to, it may speak to right-leaning independents, but does it speak to minorities and other people that felt that Barry Goldwater was a divisive force, especially when it comes to civil rights?
I think Kari was the one who mentioned, that he would absolutely, his head would turn today, and McCain's as well. Barry Goldwater was someone who put Arizonans first. He was a principled leader and politician, and I certainly, wasn't really paying attention during his tenure because I was really little. But what I know is that I'm thinking but what I know is that he didn't always make the right call, and he's someone who, when he didn't, he later admitted that, and so he voted for previous iterations of the Civil Rights Act as an example of something that was kind of divisive when he voted against the 1964. He later said that was wrong, and we need leaders who are willing to admit those mistakes. He also was a
They say that this is going to come down to the independents. What ways are you reaching out to the independents in your message?
For this entire campaign, I've talked to voters across the state. I'm not worried about if they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents. I'm talking to voters about the issues they care about and what we can do to solve them together, whether it's water, education, protecting our freedom to vote. Those are issues that Arizonans care about, and I've been talking throughout this campaign about the solutions that will start working.
I think to that question, the former mayor campaign might have an interesting comment on that.
Lifelong Republican, for terms came at Robeson, but it's very easy for me to support and be here today for Katie. Carolyn Allen was in the legislature and one of the most talented and most effective legislators I knew from Hannibal, Missouri, and she quoted Mark Twain. She said, never debate with the fool, they all